Hey guys, let's have a look at some interesting insights into one of the highly anticipated releases of the year, The Odyssey. The Odyssey, directed by Christopher Nolan and distributed by Universal Pictures, has emerged as one of the most technologically ambitious and logistically challenging epic blockbusters ever created. The makers have released two trailers for the film so far, when the first of it initiates and onsets on from the familiar and the iconic logos of Universal and Syncope as the barren terrains of presumably a war-inflicted zone is assumably sitting at the preparatory mode or the interim or the aftermath of the entire conflict. As the immersive footage transitions onto the more vivid visuals of the battle troops when the courtesy protocols seem to be structurally adhered to, as the warm and the intense voice of Matt Damon seems to lay out the cards of the deeply strong-willed resolution of the unceasing yearning of an unresting fire of the film's lead. The central character here poetically vocals and immersively entangles out the deeply stemmed knots of his desperate longings when he presents the entire scenario under the undoubted disguise of a seamless yet a brief symmetry that creatively highlights his men in the forefront of the entire dilemma, while he humbly and huge-heartedly corners himself within the unmattering mask of the sidelining shadows. On the other hand, the second trailer commences itself with the melancholic and the fluctuating waves of the vast water as the solitary subject seems to be resting and floating along the whims of its unpredictable course. The primary point of this powerful piece of the film's brief glimpses is complemented along with the presence of the secondary character who seems to be probing the protagonist in the verbally prominent backdrop of the meticulously and creatively chronological footage as she supposedly in proximity of a warm-hearted concern and a friendly emotive caress inquires about what can the latter clearly recollect of what is left behind in the distant and the irreversible waters of the past. Now both the trailers here beautifully compact and compile out the poetic tension of this illustrious epic, when if the first trailer gives us a very brief taste of the overall stakes of another one of Nolan's ambitious venture, whereas the second trailer thoroughly takes us through the dark void and the bacterial odor of the malicious parasites that are looming all over the politically fragile kingdom of Ithaca. Now, The Odyssey has already made cinema history as the first feature film shot entirely using IMAX 70mm film cameras, bypassing standard formats completely. In an official industry update, IMAX CEO Richard L. Gelfond confirmed that Nolan utilized never-before-seen IMAX camera technology specifically developed to handle harsh environments. Clocking in at an estimated $250 million, it officially stands as the most expensive production of Christopher Nolan's legendary career. True to his filmmaking philosophy, pioneering director Christopher Nolan rejected green screens and digital backgrounds, opting instead for grueling international location shoots between February and August 2025. Major portions of the mythical journey were shot on the island of Favignana near Sicily, historically known as Aigusa. This location matches the exact geographical inspiration where Homer's Odysseus barbecued wild goats and rested before confronting the Cyclops. The production required massive logistical movements across Morocco, Greece, Italy, Scotland, Iceland, Malta, and Western Sahara, utilizing real landscapes to represent the ancient Mediterranean. To bring the monster Polyphemus to life without relying on heavy CGI, the special effects team constructed a 6x6 meter tall practical anthropomorphic animatronic puppet. This choice was inspired by Nolan's reverence for classic special effects artist Ray Harryhausen. Nolan requested that Matt Damon grow a completely authentic full beard to accurately portray Odysseus' rugged transformation over his decade-long journey. Damon noted in interviews that growing it out to withstand intense onset wind and sea spray was a unique personal challenge. Tom Holland, who portrays Odysseus' son Telemachus, shared insights with The Hollywood Reporter about the mind-blowing scale of the project, describing his immense creative growth while learning directly from the collaborative pairing of Damon and Nolan. Rather than adapting archaic iterations, Nolan wrote his screenplay using the critically acclaimed 2017 translation of The Odyssey by British-American classicist Emily Wilson, noted for being the first English translation of the epic poem published by a woman. Now, the film that is all set to grace the screen on July the 17th of 2026 includes a colorful collaboration of a stag and a stellar cast as the legendary and visionary storyteller manning and wheeling this highly celebrated lore is all set to yet again stagger and trance our spirits with this highly scaled and an eagerly awaited adaptation of a glorious epic. A home that is subjected to the blot of an empty throne. Hey guys, if you like my video, you can click on the like and share button, and you can also subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss upon these types of videos. Let's come together and celebrate the magic of movies.